2 of the NFL season has officially wrapped. Please do not ask me how the Raiders did. Anyway, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. If you are new to the channel or a new listener, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a subscribe, make sure to rate us 5 stars. We got a ton of great things to talk about in this episode. We're going over some panic meters, Pickems, fantasy football. You know the drill. But before every single episode, my man Jaden comes with some pregame talk. What do we got today?
All right, so through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, what would you say is the best example of that meme of the Bugatti and the trailer park? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. What is the definition of that meme so far this season? Okay, let's see. Let me think. Because what first came to mind, but then at the same time, Russ just balled out like he did. I was going to say Malik Neighbors, but like I said, Russ just balled his ass off against the Cowboys. So I think Russ is still good enough to not have him like super trash. What is the example of that? Probably Cam Ward on the Titans, honestly. I think the Titans have some solid, Alec Aomaner has looked pretty good, but I mean, Cam Ward has looked phenomenal. I know the stats are not going to back it up, but he is legit what that meme is. Like, he has looked fantastic, making every single throw you can ask of. I mean, go look at his second NFL pass attempt. I mean, it's unreal. It was like I think it was to Ridley, like a crossing route with a defender draped all over him on the money. I mean, Cam Ward has been unbelievable this season. I can't believe how great he is already. But I'm trying to think of another one. I think that's probably the best one that I can think of.
I think an easy cop-out answer could be like Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett for sure.
Oh, he's still elite.
Yeah, he's still looked really good. I'm trying to think of even teams. Because that's the thing. I don't think there's any, like, you look at like some of the bottom teams, and it's like, the Saints. I feel like they don't have anybody that's like a superstar emerging. The Panthers, like, it's just like you would want to say Bryce, but at the same time, he's had some good highs, but also a lot of really bad lows so far. Like I said, the Giants with Neighbors, but Russ has still been playing well. I mean, the first game he didn't, but the second game he bounced back. Yeah, I think it's really just Cam Ward and Myles Garrett really in a league of their own. I can't really think of anybody else that would fit that meme.
Maybe getting like very recency bias here. Very recency bias. Mahomes.
Yeah,
he's doing everything for that team right now.
I guess so. But also at the same time, man, Mahomes he's had some plays this year where you're just obviously the help around him is really bad, and we're going to get to that later on in this episode. But his deep ball accuracy is a little bit concerning. He's missed a lot of deep passes this year where it's like, man, you're taking points away from your team because you simply just can't hit that. And I know it's weird to say, but that just simply hasn't been his game over the past like year and a half, 2 years now, for a player with one of the strongest arms in the league, or really in league history. But that is a pretty good one. But at the same time, I mean, Chris Jones is still really good. Creed Humphrey is the best center in football.
He traded in his deep ball for rushing ability.
Yeah, true.
He's been running running into contact. He's
literally
like a running back.
I think he's been their leading rusher in both games. But again, I don't think I would say that for Mahomes just because I was just saying
that just to.
Yeah, I mean, Trent McDuffie's still lead, Chris Jones still lead, Creed Humphrey. They got a lot of great players still over there. But yeah, I think if I had to say, I think Cam Ward and Myles Garrett would be my 2 for sure. But that's a good pregame talk. Before we get into the meat of the bones of the episode, which is going over panic meters for every 0-2 team to start out this year, I want to talk about this. So Joe Burrow just went down with a grade 3 turf toe. And he's going to be out for about 3 months. Late December, middle to late December is the targeted return date for Burrow. Um, and I wanted to talk about this for this reason. The Bengals drafted Joe Burrow in 2020 with the number 1 overall pick. And outside of his fellow teammate at LSU, which they drafted the next year, the Bengals have failed Joe Burrow in a lot of ways. Joe Burrow is, without a doubt, when healthy, one of the best passers that we've ever seen in this league. And I don't think it's crazy to say that. Joe Burrow, this is, or was going to be, I can't say was going to be, he played 2 games this year, or a game and a half, I should say. Really, I think a game and a quarter. But this was Joe Burrow's 7th year. Sorry, 7th year. But in Joe Burrow's 6 full years that he played, he got injured for 2 of them and played for the other 3. These are the 3 years that he played fully healthy. Led the league in completion percentage at 70, threw for 4,600 yards and 34 touchdowns. The next year, 68 completion percentage, 4,400 passing yards, 35 passing touchdowns. And then the third year was 70 completion percentage, nearly 5,000 yards at 4,900, 43 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions. One of the best passing seasons we've ever seen. And a talent like this is simply getting wasted. And you saw it with Andrew Luck. And the reason I'm bringing him up is because they're getting a lot of comparisons. Because Andrew Luck, if I'm not mistaken, only played 6 seasons in this league before retiring. An all-time talent at quarterback. But unfortunately, the Colts could not put a structured offense around him to allow him to succeed and not take a beating every single Sunday. In the 6 years that both of them have played, the quarterback contact for Luck was higher than Burrow, 828 to 634. Unreal numbers for Luck. I can't believe what he was putting up with over there in Indianapolis. Contact percent, 21% for Luck, 20% for Burrow. Times sacked, 174 for Luck, 201 for Burrow. And pressure percent, 28% for Luck, 27% for Joe Burrow. Very, very similar starts to their career. And obviously we understand what happened with Andrew Luck and him retiring early. And obviously we don't want to go to the extreme and say something like that is going to happen for Burrow. But when you look at the roster construction that the Bengals have had around Burrow and the fact that they have failed him year after year after year, and now this is his 3rd major injury of his career after just 6 years, it's concerning, man. It's concerning. And it is 1,000% on the Bengals front office and the fact that they cannot put a team around him, to be honest with you. I mean, just give the man a little bit of help. I mean, these Bengals teams that he was dragging to 10-6 and 12-4, they did not have all-world talent, but they had an all-world quarterback and an all-world receiver, and they were able to make plays happen. And it starts in the draft. I mean, you look at the other big three quarterbacks that is, in Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. When you look at the draft picks that those teams have made compared to what the Bengals have done, it's not even close. I mean, the Bengals, outside of this most recent draft, you have the Ravens drafting players like Nate Wiggins, Roger Rosengarten, Zay Flowers. I mean, they had a draft where they drafted Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, and Isaiah Likely in the same draft. In the same draft. The draft before that, Rashad Bateman, Odafe Owe. I mean, you're talking about quality players after quality players. And the Bengals have not been able to do that. You look at the Chiefs side, drafting Trent McDuffie, drafting Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith in the same draft. Nick Bolton was even in that draft. I mean, and even on the Bills side, it hasn't been, I'm not saying that it's been all worldly and these are all pros after all pros, but I mean, Keon Coleman is shaping up to be a great player. Dalton Kincaid is a really good tight end. Osiris Torrance is one of the better run blocking guards in the league. You look at James Cook, Terrell Bernard, Khalil Shakir, all in the same draft. Second, third, fifth round. Christian Benford was in that draft, a 6th-round pick. He's an all-pro talent at cornerback. The year before that, Gregory Rousseau, Spencer Brown. I mean, it's starting talent after talent, Pro Bowl level players, all pro level players. And then you look at the Cincinnati Bengals draft history, and it's the complete opposite. Armarius Mims. What are you getting out of him? That's the 2024 draft. Outside of that, there's nobody that's playing over there. Miles Murphy, who has 3 sacks in his career. DJ Turner, who hasn't shaped up. Jordan Battle, who's like, I guess, like, I don't know. Chase Brown was in that draft. You got him. Dax Hill. I mean, Cam Taylor-Britt. Like, we're talking about players that are non-factors for this Bengal team. These are 1st and 2nd round picks I'm talking about. And obviously you have the Jamar Chase hit. But outside of that, they have failed him year after year. And it starts up top. The Bengals' pass protection ranking since Joe Burrow was drafted in 2020 lists like this. In 2020, they were 29th in pass block win rate. In 2021, they were 30th. 2022, they were 30th. 2023, they were 27th. 2024, they were 32nd, despite Joe Burrow putting up one of the greatest passing seasons we've ever seen. And in 2025 so far, they've been the 28th best team in pass block win rate. I simply not going to cut it. Simply not going to cut it. When you have Hall of Fame talents at quarterback and receiver, and you fail this badly to put a structured team around them. It's unfortunate, man. You don't want to see a quarterback go out like this. But if Joe Burrow were to, take the trajectory that Luck did and be himself and retire. Obviously, we don't want to say that. That's extreme. That's crazy. I would hate that. But if he wanted to look out for himself, because the Bengals surely aren't doing that, I would understand him. I would understand him 100%. And I get it. Burrow's got a strong personality. I think, and it's crazy to say this because I think the number one spot, as I just listed, I think the Bengals have failed him off of their draft history. But I think another way that they have failed him is listening to him. And that sounds crazy at face value, but I think paying T. Higgins is going to come back to bite this team a lot because you invest that much into those 2 receivers, and outside of that, the offense is not pretty. So it's such a tough situation over there in Cincinnati. And to go from a team that was, a Super Bowl contender, looked like they were going to be, a team that was going at the Chiefs and Bills and Ravens every single year. And for the downfall to start looking like this, it sucks, man. You hate to see talents like this go down time and time again. And I hope the best for Joe Burrow, man. I hope he can come back better than ever. And I hope this really awakens the Bengals to start prioritizing him and beef up that offensive line like they should have been doing. So that was just a little spill that I wanted to go over with the Bengals and Joe Burrow because it sucks, man. I can't imagine having a quarterback like that and your team fail around him season after season. Because I couldn't imagine. I would love to have a quarterback like Joe Burrow on the Raiders, but I can only dream, man. We'd probably do the same thing. So maybe it's better that we don't. But anyway, that was my little spill, like I said, about Joe Burrow. Now let's get into the big portion of this episode. We're going to be giving out some panic meters to some 0-2 teams. Jaden's got a list of all of those teams. He's going to list them out one by one, and I'm going to give my rating 1 through 10 on their panic meter for the season. Now, this is going to vary team to team, obviously, because, I mean, not to spoil anything, but for example, I'm not looking at a team like the Browns, like they're 0-2. It's like we expected that. Like it's hard to gauge like what the panic is. Like, we're really panicking? Like it, you know what I mean? It's like it's weird to explain, but it's like I'm not panicking for the Browns per se. It's like, yeah, I expected this. So it's weird to gauge it for those bottom teams that we knew were going to be this bad. But there are definitely some teams on here that you didn't expect to be 0-2, and the panic meter is starting to rise for sure. So yeah, without further ado, Jaden, what's the first 0-2 team that you got for me?
First team I got is the Saints.
New Orleans Saints. And see, this is, for example, like I was saying, it's hard to give them a panic meter. I think for their expectations, I mean, I want to just go like straight down the middle for these, like 5, because it's like what did they expect? And honestly, they haven't looked that bad for how bad that a lot of people, including myself, thought that they were going to be. They haven't looked that bad. Their offense hasn't looked terrible. Their defense hasn't looked terrible. They've looked a lot better than I thought. But panic meter is tough. I think I'm just gonna go like straight down the middle for this team, because like I said, I don't really know how to gauge a team like this. So I'm just gonna go straight down the middle. Hopefully this team, I'm pretty sure, hopes that they can get a top pick in this next year's draft and potentially get a quarterback, despite this quarterback class not looking so pretty to start off the college football year. But yeah, I guess I'll just go straight down the middle at a 5 for the Saints. What do you got next?
Panthers.
Panthers. Okay. Now, this is one that I like, because even though they're in a similar field to the Saints where we expected them to be bad, I think this team wanted to look a lot better than they have. I think I'm going to land this panic meter at around a 7.5. Now, Bryce Young has showed, again, what he does every single year. He shows flashes, but he also has really, really, really bad down moments. But it's kind of similar to a Cam Ward situation, but the Panthers are like just a slight notch above that, where it's like, despite wanting to see significant growth from Bryce Young, this Panthers team they're just really bad. I mean, they have a lot of players playing significant minutes for them that just shouldn't. That just should not be on the field. They shouldn't even be on the roster, to be honest with you. I mean, their receiving core outside of Teteroa and McMillan is really bad. Xavier Legette is the worst receiver in the league that gets like meaningful playing time. That's no exaggeration. I mean, the numbers are here. Receiving efficiency in the first 2 weeks, yards per route, and passer rating when targeted, he is like by far and away the lowest receiver on this graph. It's unreal. He's in a league of his own at the bottom. So the Panthers are in such a weird spot, because you have a quarterback that does show flashes of brilliance. That second half against the Cardinals, he looked like he was the number 1 overall pick. He was showing his talent. But it's just all around bad. And then you look at the injuries at the offensive line. I mean, it could start getting even more and more ugly. Now that I even think about that, I might even rise this panic meter, because you can be looking at another year where the Panthers wanted to take that slight step, and they still might end up only winning like 3 or 4 games. And then you're just in the same spot that you've been in the last 3 years. So I think I'm going to land at a solid 8 for the Panthers, because with the offensive line injuries, I mean, it might get even more ugly than it already has been. So yeah, I'll go at 8 panic meter for the Panthers.
All right. What about the Bears?
Man, the Bears. Oh man, this was a team that I was buying a lot of stock in to start the year. And not only myself, there were a lot of people that were high on this team, but also a lot of people that were low. A lot of people that just, and I get it. You just don't want to buy anything with the Bears. I get it. It's kind of like with my Raiders. You just don't want anything to do with them. But I don't know, man. I saw Caleb Williams, one of the greatest quarterback prospects we've seen in recent memory. I see one of the best offensive minds we've seen in the NFL in a long time. You have loads of talent on the offense, and I bought it, man. I thought this team would look a lot better, and it just hasn't, man. And I don't know how confident I am to have faith in this team going forward. And it sucks, man. As much as I want to believe in Caleb Williams, man, it's not looking pretty, man. He'll come out in the first few drives of those scripted plays, and then outside of that, it's just not pretty. And he's taken small strides from last year, but it's still really, really bad, man. Caleb Williams through the first 2 weeks, yards per attempt, 6.42, 23rd out of 34 quarterbacks. His completion percentage above expected, 0.3. That's 26th out of quarterbacks. Adjusted completion percentage, 73.8, 28th. Off-target throw rate, 21.5. That's 30th. Catchable throw rate, 70.8. That's 28th in the league. And pressure to sack rate is 21.4 at 24th in the league. And as much as you want to, make excuses, we're running out of them quickly for Caleb Williams. And I know he's only, 18, 19 games into his career, but you want to see significant growth from a quarterback prospect like himself, with an offensive mind like Ben Johnson as his head coach, and receiving talents like Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Colson Loveland out there. You want to see real progression from him, where it's like, yeah, this is 100% our guy. This is going to be a top 10 quarterback in this league, no doubt. And you're just not seeing that, man. You get real small flashes. That first drive against Minnesota, that opening week, boy, I thought the Bears were back. I thought we were about to get an MVP season from Caleb Williams. And then it just went downhill from there. And the same thing with the Lions game. They come out those first few drives looking sharp, and then it's just everything goes downhill after that. It's scary, scary times for Chicago, man, especially considering how bad that defense is. I mean, I guess I can't put it all on them. They're dealing with a lot of injuries, and they just played one of the better offenses in the NFL. But to hang as much points as they did up on them, I mean, that's just unreal. Opposing quarterbacks have a perfect passer rating when targeting Tyreek Stevenson. Simply not going to get it done, especially when you have Jalen Johnson, who's out indefinitely now. So the Bears panic meter, I'm probably going to land this at like a 9, bro. Really close to a 10. I mean, they play the Cowboys next week. If they drop that again, yeah, it's a full 10 for me. But as of right now, I'm gonna go with a 9. So that's where I land for them.
All right, next is the Giants.
The Giants. I'm not gonna have this panic meter too high. I think I'm gonna have this at like a 3 or a 4. And the reason I say that, similar to the Saints and the Panthers, we knew the Giants were going to be bad. They had the hardest schedule, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL going into the season. And we've seen some flashes so far where it's like this team can stay competitive, but still end up with a high pick. And I think in a rebuilding year like the Giants are doing, that's all you want. You know what I mean? Malik Neighbors to show out, the defensive line to look good. As long as you get that, I think you're happy. You understand that you're not going to be a team that's going to make a playoff push. You might not even fight for like 6 wins. You might be a 5 or less win team. But as long as your stars are showing up, Malik Neighbors, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter hopefully gets it going here. But as long as those guys show up, I think you're fine. Russ looked really good in that Cowboys game, despite the one biggest mistake that he could have, where he just threw the ball in the air for whatever reason. But despite the Giants being 0-2, I think I'm only going to have their panic meter at a 3 or 4. You know what I mean? So that's where I land with them.
All right, next is the other New York team.
The Jets. The Jets might be, it might be a little bit higher for me. I think I'm going to land at a 5.5, maybe closer to 6. Again, they are also in a rebuilding year. But I thought this team, and again, it's so early. We're only 2 games in. But one of the places where you thought this team could have hung their hat on was on that defensive side of the ball. And obviously running the football, which they were not able to do effectively at all against the Bills. I mean, that was just a slaughter. But you thought this team could hang their hat on defense, and through the first 2 games, it's one of the worst in the NFL. So it's a really weird spot for the Jets. I still think they can be a competitive rebuilding team this year. I think they can still squeak out maybe at max 7-ish, 8-ish wins, but I think they're more so in that 6 range, maybe even 5. But I really was optimistic about this team going into the year. I thought they could have been a for sure 8 to 9 win team and looked really good. And obviously they still can. But after these first 2 weeks, I mean, I don't like what I'm seeing on the defensive side of the ball. And you get blown out that bad to the Bills, who are obviously one of the best teams in the league. But you've hung in with the Bills in a lot of games over the past few years. And to get blown out of the waters like that, and I think Justin Fields went like 3 for 11 for like 27 yards or something crazy like that. That's very concerning. So I'm going to land at like a 6 for the Jets.
All right, next is the Dolphins.
This is going to be one of the higher ones. This is going to be similar to the Bears. You know what? I'm not even going to do that. This is a 10. This is the team that should be panicking the most. And the reason I say that, they need to blow it all up. Everything. I've mentioned this in the past. Tyreek needs to be traded. Waddle needs to be traded. I mean, the whole offense just needs to go. The whole team needs to go. Mike McDaniel needs to be fired. Tua, I mean, you might be stuck with him, unfortunately. This team is an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess. I think it's the team that I would hate to be a fan of. Like the number 1 team. Like I'd rather be a fan of like the Saints or the Browns. Honestly, I'd rather be a fan of the Browns than the Dolphins, because at least I know that we're like really, really bad and we have like nothing to play for, and we're just going to keep on stacking top pick after top pick. But that's not what the Dolphins have. They have a ton of money invested into this offense, and even some money invested into the defense. And it's like you start off 0-2 to some teams that you think you're better than. It looks ugly, bro. It looks so ugly over there in Miami. I can't even imagine what Dolphin fans are going through. So for me, I mean, it's probably the team that should be panicking the most in the league. So they're going to be a 10 for me.
All right, what about the Chiefs?
Considering expectations, this is going to be pretty high for me. This is the first 0-2 year in the Patrick Mahomes era. They fall to 2 teams in the Chargers and the Eagles that are, the Chargers are a sneaky AFC team this year, man. They can make some noise in the playoffs despite being in another, quote unquote rebuild year for them, despite having a top 5-ish quarterback in Justin Herbert. But for the Chiefs to fall to 0-2 and for them to be dealing with these injuries at wide receiver and the fact that Rashee Rice is suspended, it's scary. It's scary, man. And their schedule is not easy. They play some dogs this year. They play some really good teams. I don't know, man. I think, man, you don't want to overreact too much, especially with a team like the Chiefs. We've seen them have these slow starts, and then they end up in the Super Bowl. But this year definitely feels different, man. I think I'm gonna land. Do I put them on the same pedestal as like the Bears, where I think I put the Bears at like an 8?
You're the Bears at a 9.
I'm gonna put the Chiefs at a 9. I think I'm gonna put the Chiefs at an 8. And the reason it's so high, as I mentioned, obviously it's different for each team. But this team's expectation is Super Bowl. You have Patrick Mahomes, maybe the second greatest quarterback on your team of all time. Second greatest quarterback of all time.
Second greatest Chief of all time.
Who would be one?
I'm going off what you said. You kind of said that at first.
No. I mean like second greatest quarterback
messing with
of all time. Yeah. I thought for a second you were gonna go with one of the offensive linemen. I can't even think of their names right now. Like from those early 2000s, like Priest Holmes and Larry Johnson were running behind. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna have it at an 8. And as I mentioned, it's based off of their expectations. This team wants to be in the Super Bowl. This team has made the AFC Championship every single year of the Patrick Mahomes era. And they just don't look like a top 5 team right now. They just don't. And it's early. It's only 2 weeks in. But as I mentioned, he's never started 0-2. And this year he has. And this offense looks miserable. It looks miserable. And I don't know how much better it's going to get. Despite the receivers and the talent coming back, it just might be too late. It just might be. So for the Chiefs, it's gonna land at an 8 for me.
All right. Next we got the Texans.
Again, this is gonna be high for me. It's gonna be high for me. This is a team similar to the Bears that I was buying a lot of stock in. And it's just the offensive line issues. I understood that they were going to be a problem, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I mean, this is probably the worst offensive line in football, maybe behind the Panthers. And it's just, I don't know how.
I mean, they were the worst last year, and then they lost their 2 best offensive linemen, to be fair.
Yeah, it's true.
Writing was on the wall.
So I don't know, man. I thought the defense, even though the defense has looked stellar this first 2 weeks, that's still, been proven that that was one of my big things going into the year. And the reason that I like the Texans so much is I thought that this defense was elite, and it is. And I thought that the offense could, at least hold up. The offensive line could hold up for Stroud to get the ball to these receivers. But, man, has it looked bad these first 2 weeks. I think if I had to give it a panic meter, man, we're talking about potentially missing the playoffs as a whole for the Texans after this 0-2 start. So I think for a panic meter, I think it's going to be like a 7.5, because this team has to make a ton of changes this offseason. They just simply cannot roll out with this type of offensive line next year. Like, despite the Bears' offensive line improvement not really doing a whole lot, they need to make those type of improvements. They need to go out and trade for Pro Bowl caliber players on that offensive line to help protect CJ Stroud. Stroud with protection is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And people are starting to forget that because the Texans are taking the Bengals route and just simply not protecting their quarterback. So I'm going to land at a 7.5 for the Texans. And is that our last team, or do we have one more?
We got two more.
Two more.
It's the Browns and the Titans.
Browns and the Titans. I'll go ahead and breeze through. I'll breeze through the Browns. Man, panic meter. I mean, a 0. I don't know what we're panicking about. They're bad. They're gonna be bad. They're probably gonna get the number 1 overall pick. I don't know what else to say. They were expected to. I think their over under was like at 3.5, something crazy like that. There's no reason to panic. You're bad. You know that. Get a top pick. Get a few top picks consecutively, and hopefully you can rebuild that way. Sorry, Browns fans. But the Titans, I do want to talk about a little bit more. And that's because Cam Ward, as I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, is a stud. The dude is an absolute rock star. He's going to be a damn good quarterback in this league. And the Titans are going to be put in a position where they're going to have to tool up this rebuild. They're going to have to put this thing on overdrive. And they're going to have to start getting talent in the door. Because Cam Ward is too good of a talent to keep on rocking out there what they're doing. And also Bryce Callahan, as I mentioned last episode, he has to go. Simply has to go. There's no reason that he should be their head coach. Simply no reason. Also, last episode, did I say? Did I just say? No, it's Brian. I keep on saying Bryce Callahan. It's Brian Callahan.
It's an
right?
NFL cornerback. It's Bryce.
Yeah. Because I think that's what I said last episode too, and I got it switched up again. It's Brian Callahan. My goodness, keep on saying Bryce Callahan. I think former DB for the Broncos. If I'm not mistaken. Brian Callahan should simply not be a head coach in this league. That's one of their number 1 priorities this offseason, is to get him out the door and get a real culture setter and someone that can build this team in the offseason. But as far as panic meter, I don't think it's going to be super high. I think if this was like off-season type of talk, like, oh, what's the panic meter on the Titans? I think it would be high because it's like you have to start, as I mentioned, putting this rebuild in overdrive and start getting talent in the door. But as far as this season, we knew that the Titans were going to be bad. All we wanted to see was Cam Ward look good, and that is what he has done these first 2 games. So for a panic meter, maybe like a 2 or 3. Not really panicking too much. You want to see this offense get going. You want to see these receivers start actually catching the football. But besides that, no real panic. Just Cam Ward, keep being you.
And so then finally, we have the Raiders. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, here you go. Luckily, we're not 0-2. We're not talking about that game. We're going to bounce back against Washington next week. But, yeah, that's every single 0-2 team in the league and their panic meters. We might as well, let's get to Pickems. I was going to say fantasy football, but, yeah, let's definitely get to Pickems. Last week, I went 10-6. Jaden went 11-5. Same as we did last week, or same as he did last week, because we both went 11-5. I took some pretty risky picks that didn't pay off. Obviously, I picked the Jets over the Bills, which was pretty bad. Picked the Raiders over the Chargers, which I let my bias get the best of me, and I'm not sure why I really did that, but I did. But this week, we're trying to bounce back. We do have a lot of similar picks, if I'm not mistaken, but hopefully on those picks that we did not match on, I'm hoping to get those locked in. As far as locks, I think Green Bay over Cleveland is a lock. I think Buffalo over Miami is a lock, the Thursday night game. And is that it? I think do I want to say Kansas City over New York is a lock? I think those two are probably the only comfortable locks.
That has to be a lock the Chiefs start 0-3 their season.
I mean, the Giants' offense look good. I mean, obviously the Chiefs have a way better defense than the Cowboys, but
I mean, you gotta expect they gotta come out here and get a win.
Yeah, They almost
Sunday
have to
night,
Sunday night.
make a
Yeah.
fool of themselves and lose to the Giants.
Kansas City is -5.5. But I think, as like I mentioned, as far as locks, I think Green Bay and Buffalo are the only ones that I'm really confident in.
That's
If
it.
Jaden Daniels plays, I wouldn't say Washington's a lock, but you could like that over
Did-
my Raiders, unfortunately.
Didn't you say Baltimore by 40 before the podcast started?
True, that is true, man. I
Keep
like
that
Baltimore.
same
I like
energy. Keep
I
that
like
same
Baltimore.
energy.
I like Baltimore over Detroit. You know what? I'll lock it because I did pick it. I'll lock Baltimore over
We gotta
Detroit.
we gotta
I do
not
like
be
that.
scared to lock games that are close.
Yeah, that's
on
true.
paper.
That's true. That's true. So what? So if I'm locking Baltimore over Detroit, what's a close game that you want to lock, or you like to lock?
Fuck, I'm blocking Indy over Tennessee.
Indy. Come on, man. What are
I'm
we
blocking
doing?
Indy over Tennessee, man.
That's-
Indiana Jones, come on.
Here you go, man. Ain't taking no risk. What about Philly and Los Angeles? You're going Philly in that game, and I'm going Los Angeles. Are you locking Philly?
No, I'm not locking Philly. Bro, Jalen Hurts is horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
bro, I seen
That's really bad.
I seen somebody compare their offense, or I mean, I'll get it. It's Theo Ash. I'm sure most people in the podcast community know Theo Ash. He compared their offense to. It's almost like they run their entire offense through a drive as like a goal line offense. It's a lot of just fade routes, slants, and tush push, and it's literally like a goal line offense that they run for the entire drive. But just Jalen Hurts, he doesn't have a passing touchdown this season yet, right?
Nuh-uh. He has.
I seen a stat. Dylan Gabriel has more passing touchdowns.
Yeah,
than
that's
him.
right. Because he only has 2 completions over 10 yards this season. And I think they were
really
both
bad.
last game. No, it was Jahan Dotson the first game, and then the second game was Devontae Smith, which was like severely underthrown. Not to bring it to Jalen Hurts slander, but I mean, you heard the
I think that was a
conversations
good
in the
ball.
offseason. You think it was a good ball at the end?
I think it was a good ball. Like, just in the situation, I mean, they were just it was like an all-out blitz, and it's
and
one-on-one.
you
You let Devontae make a play. It could be pass interference.
Yeah.
I think that's the right ball to throw.
I do like those situations. I always prefer the quarterback to take those shots.
It's better to underthrow it than to overthrow it because they can still make a
right.
play on it. Maybe force a pass interference.
Right. But yeah, we're trying to bounce back this week. Last week going 10-6. Obviously, Jaden beating us out by 1 game, so now he is officially 1 game above me on the rankings because we did tie that first week at 11-5. But we only are different on 3 games this week. He's taking Minnesota. I'm taking Cincinnati. He's taking New England. I'm taking Pittsburgh. And he's taking Philly. And I'm taking the Rams. So, obviously, I'm hoping for 2 out of those 3 to hit at least. If one of us sweeps that and goes 3-0, it's going to be tough to, like, bounce back. Especially if you're able to do it, considering that you are up 1 right now. If you're able to sweep that and go up 4, I mean, that's just tough to make a comeback because...
Fuck it.
Like,
I'm locking Cleveland over Green Bay. No, I'm joking. I'm looking for other locks.
I really don't think there is any. Like,
I feel like we should
like,
give more points for locking. Getting, like, the lock. Or, no, that doesn't make sense.
Because
Never
then we
mind.
could
Forget
just
what I
lock,
said.
like,
Forget what I
easy
said.
ones.
Forget what I said. That doesn't make any sense.
I
just feel like locking a team that's, like, not the favorite should. But, I don't know. It's hard to kind of determine that. It's whatever. Forget what I said. Keep going.
Yeah. Baltimore is also... I guess that's not really that crazy. I was going to say Baltimore is also 5.5 over Detroit. But I guess that's not, like, super crazy. I mean, I guess it is a little bit high, but I don't know. But yeah, as I mentioned, holy shit. Dude, do you see what Buffalo is favored by?
No,
12 and a half, bro.
17 million.
Oh my God, 12 and a half, bro. That's got to be one of the highest of the season, bro. That is crazy. I wonder like what the Ravens were against the Browns last week. 12.5. Holy shit, bro. And that's probably gonna hit, bro. That is crazy, bro.
It's in Buffalo.
But
Prime time.
yeah, they're gonna show out. Damn. But yeah, those are our picks for this week. Hoping to bounce back, hoping to take back that lead. Let us know what you guys think about those down below. And before we get into off the field and wrap up this episode, we do have our weekly fantasy football talk. And it's not good, guys. It's not good. I dropped to 0-2. And even if I do, now my one mistake that I made really bad, I was all in on Brian Thomas Jr. this offseason. I wanted him in every single fantasy draft that I did. And obviously it hasn't panned out for me. He's been really bad this year, and that Jags offense has been really bad this year. And the pick after me, after Brian Thomas Jr., I selected him 9th overall, was Malik Neighbors. Now, even if I took Malik Neighbors, who put up like 37, pretty sure I don't win this week regardless. I think I still would have lost by a few points because every single week I am going to play the highest or second highest scorer. That's just how it works, unfortunately for me, despite putting up, I think 116. Yeah, here he goes. 116 last week and 119 this week. I'm just always going to play the highest score. I'm never going to get lucked out and have to play, even like a Jaden. I'm never going to luck out and play Jaden, unfortunately.
One less point than you.
Hey, it would have been a win.
I'm averaging 130 still.
But I'm not I can't even say that. I can't even say I'm not panicking because my first and third round pick are just not panning out. Brian Thomas Jr. and Amarion Hampton have been terrible, and I don't know if it's going to get better, bro. Chuba, Puka, and Emeka Egbuka have been carrying me. And I'm 0-2, man. It's just tough, man. It's tough, man. It's tough spot I'm in. I'm trying to make trades. I almost had a trade on the table to get Jamar Chase, and my boy backed out. He didn't want it anymore. I was going to do a 2-for-1 of Emeka, Brian Thomas, and Hampton. It was going to be 2 of those, any 2 he wanted for Chase. And at first, he was thinking about it. Then he backed out. So I'm pretty much stuck with this team for right now. I think the only thing I'm banking on, I feel like I'm just going to have to hold on to BTJ this whole year. There's a world where I would like to sell high if he comes off of a good game, but if he does that, it's like, am I really getting off of my first round pick that quick? And like, there's even a world where like I'm considering benching him for like George Pickens, but again, it's like, am I really ready to move off of my first round pick again? Like, I don't know, bro. This is the exact same thing that happened last year. Last year I had Tyreek Hill in the first and Travis Etienne in the third, and they both shit the bed and lost me the league pretty much. But I ate in the later rounds, and that's exactly what I've done this year. Chuba late, Caleb Williams late, Emeka Egbuka late. Hell, even Puka later than he should have. I thought there was no way that I would have got Puka in the second, and I did. And he's been, what? Is he? I think he's wide receiver 1 this year so far. Through obviously it's only 2 games, but he's wide receiver 1. I got him in the second round. So, damn, dude, if I just would have
receiver 1 on 0-2 team, free Puka.
Yeah,
I'll take him off your hands.
It's rough for me, man. I don't even know where to go with this season. Because this league is a pretty competitive league. Like, a lot of these guys know what they're doing. Like, I can't finesse anybody. Nobody wants to make trades. Like, obviously I can't even offer like Brian Thomas Jr. for a bad player. Like, I've been throwing out trades and they're getting declined. Like, I don't even think I could offer Brian Thomas Jr. for Quentin Johnston right now. That probably wouldn't even get accepted in this league. So I'm in a tough spot, man. And Jaden, you dropped your first game of the year. You're now 1-1. And I think you went up against, what, the third highest score?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because I went up against Angel. 143 was the second. And then you unfortunately had to go up against 138. Sheesh. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough out here. Despite Lamar Jackson absolutely cooking for you.
Yeah,
Garrett
I mean,
Wilson.
just a lot of just stinkers.
Yeah. I mean, that in a row. Like,
Brock
your running back
Bowers
showed
was
up.
terrible. No, I'm joking. Yeah, Travis Hunter is bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
And it's not like even like I just sat anybody on my bench that could have done anything. It's just all around a bad week.
Yeah.
Like I could have started. If I could have started everybody on my team all at once, and I still wouldn't have been the highest scorer this week. No, not still lost. That'd have been crazy.
I was gonna say
I wouldn't have been the highest scorer this week if I started.
Yeah.
What? What's this like? Fucking like all 17 players on my roster.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even been the highest scorer. It's just a bad week for my players, other than Jalen Warren and Saquon and Lamar.
Yeah.
And Boz. Love me some Chris Boswell.
You did get the number one kicker. I mean, that's something to hang your hat on. You're always gonna have 12 points
He's
from
number
your
4
kicker.
kicker right now, actually.
Really? Who the hell went off?
I don't know.
Because didn't he have like 12 week 1 too?
Probably Aubrey.
He has 27 points. Oh, Aubrey. Oh yeah, Aubrey kicked a shit ton this last week. He kicked I think like 4 or 5 field goals. Damn, dude. Yeah, that's crazy. I think my biggest L this week, week 1, I started Trevor Lawrence over the 2 quarterbacks that I drafted in Caleb Williams and Jared Goff. And I dropped Jared Goff for Juwan Johnson this week. Even though Juwan Johnson gave me like 14, I think. If you keep up with the NFL at all, you know that Jared Goff put up 45 fantasy points. Now, this is a 6-point passing. I want to put that up there. 6 point. I don't know why I said passing like that, but 6-point passing. So
it's an extra 10 points in normal.
Yeah, his numbers are pretty inflated. So that's gonna hurt for a while. I'm making a lot of bad decisions. Brian Thomas Jr. over Neighbors and dropping Jared Goff the week before he plays the Bears defense and starting Caleb Williams. That's gonna hurt. Even though Caleb Williams has been good. You know what I mean? 26 and then 21 last week. Like you take that from your quarterback, but it's not 45. It's not, it's not quarterback 1 on the week, and probably a top 5 quarterback season that we're going to see this, or a top 5 quarterback game that we're going to see this season. So that was rough, man. I fall to 0-2, but I am 2-0 in my other league. As I talked about last week, this is a league that Jaden is not in. This is just an own league that I have with my friend and some of his people. I am 2-0.
Free league?
Quicked out, yeah. $150
6-man league.
$150 12-man.
4-man league.
150 12-man. Super competitive.
2-man league.
It's supposed to be competitive, but obviously nobody in this league knows what they're doing with the team that I have. And I squeaked out a win, 115-109. Ashton Genty obviously is unfortunately plays for the Raiders, so he's never going to get more than 10 carries in a game. Actually, I'm lying. He got 11. He got 11 this past game, so it's 1 more. But, yeah, my team out here, I still like. My biggest, despite me winning, I had Rome Odunze on my bench, which really hurt. But I think I'm going to, with Rome Odunze obviously taking over as that number 1 role in that Bears offense, I got a lot of players that are disposable now in this league. I got Drake. I got 4 really good receivers. I got CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, and Rome Odunze. one of either Rome or Drake London will get traded. Now, obviously, Rome has the higher trade value, so the odds that I can get someone back better in return is more likely for him. So I'm going to toss him around, see what I can get. I'm looking for a running back. My running backs right now are a mix of Breece Hall, Jordan Mason, and Tony Pollard. I don't mind that running back room at all, especially considering I have Jalen Hurts at quarterback with his rushing upside, and that receiving room. But yeah, I want to get a really good running back. So I'm gonna try to dangle Rome around this week and see if anybody bites. Probably preferably an 0-2 team, a team that's desperate, and see what I can get. But yeah, 0-2 in one league, 2-0 in the other. We take our wins, we take our losses, but the main league with me and Jaden is the one that I really wanted to hit on, and I won't be able to live down Brian Thomas Jr. over Neighbors for a while, despite it only being 2 weeks in. I am in full panic mode. But yeah, man, I think that's all of the football talk that we have today. And we'll finish this up right before we get up out of here with some off the field. We only got one thing to talk about today, and it was the same thing that we talked about last episode. That is one of the biggest fights in boxing history. Is it safe to say? Especially with the view count that it drew in. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. And this fight, I think Jaden would agree, didn't go the way that I think a lot of people expected. Terrence Crawford, just flat out dominated him. I'll let Jaden take it over here in a second, obviously with him being the boxing head, but everything that I saw and took even time out of mine to go research, I thought Canelo had it. I thought Canelo was going to dominate this fight. I thought he was just simply going to be the bigger fighter in the ring, and that matters a lot when it comes to fighting. And it was the complete opposite. Terrence had his way with him. Pause, but that's just what it was. I've seen Canelo fight. I think this was my 4th or 5th time watching him fight, and I have never seen him perform that bad. It was just Bud Crawford was on a different level than him, to be honest with you. But Jaden, what is your thoughts and remarks around the fight?
Yeah. You said you've never seen Canelo perform that bad. I'll say, honestly, he didn't even perform like that bad. I think Terrence Crawford just performed that well. I think this is the same Canelo we've seen over the last 4 fights since like the Caleb Plant or Billy Joe Saunders fight. Since after those fights, it's just the same, it's the same game plan every fight. He's going to come in, he's flat-footed, can't cut off the ring that well, doesn't throw jabs. He's going to telegraph his big right hooks, his big left hooks. He's going to try to go to the body with these telegraph punches. And it doesn't work against an elite boxer like Terrence Crawford. He's going to know what's coming. He knows what's coming going into the fight. And then as the fight goes on, he realizes just no adjustments being made. It's just he just picked Canelo apart piece by piece. And then even went later in the rounds, once he started to realize Canelo can't hurt him, he started sitting in the pocket and trading with Canelo. If you want to call it that. He was in the pocket and Canelo wasn't even landing nothing.
Right.
Going into this, I said that it was going to be a lot closer than people were making it out to be. And it was the complete opposite. It wasn't even close at all. Yeah. And I know Bud had the opportunity to outbox him. I just didn't think it would be that bad.
Yeah.
I should have realized that. Bud is just that good. And I said, if he were to pull this off, he'd be getting into top 10 to 15 of all time talk. I think with a performance like that dominating, a 10-2 performance against one of the, greats of our generation. I think he's certainly top 10 now.
Right.
I mean, it was a hell
The,
of a performance, and he hurt Canelo more than Canelo was able to hurt him, and that's crazy
yeah.
to say. I mean, like, we've seen Canelo fight Triple G 3 times, and I've never seen him get hurt or wobbled like he did in the 12th round against Terrence Crawford. Like, in the
Right.
last like 20, 25 seconds when Crawford landed that left, like, Canelo's knees, like, they buckled a little bit, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I mean, Terrence Crawford, he's just a different animal.
Yeah. And I even saw, I can't believe this, but I can't remember what like scoreboard it was or whose scoreboard it was, but I did see one judge had it at a draw, and I don't know if
That was the AI judge.
that's what I thought it was, an AI, and that's like, I mean, obviously it's an AI, but that's nuts.
I mean,
That's
they're
nuts.
using it. Obviously, they're not using it in the final deciding factor for fights, but they're
Right.
using it. I mean, like, this is the Rings AI. Like, they're planning on trying to, sometime in the future, implement that to get a more, accurate accurate scorecard, which that did like the complete opposite.
Right.
Had that
I
fight at a
mean,
draw, they got to do some
that's
serious, working on that AI.
yeah, because
Because
there's no way,
a
not
blind
even
man could have
close.
scored that at least 8 rounds for Crawford.
Right. Right. At the bare minimum, and even that is like pushing it. Like, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. But it was a legendary fight. Obviously, we want to see the greatest go at it. And to be able to see it like that is dope.
And it wasn't
Um,
even fight of the night either.
yeah, true.
Fight of the night,
True.
Christian and Billy versus Lester Martinez. I mean,
Yeah.
I think most, boxing fan heads or boxing fan people that really know boxing knew that probably was gonna be fight of the night. I mean, that's just two young dudes who are, looking to make a name for themselves in this super mid. I mean, and Billy's he was the number one ranked contender, but Lester Martinez coming up, Terrence Crawford's main sparring partner. I mean, they went in there and they he just sat in the pocket within Billy and just traded all night, landing clean uppercut. Cause you know what Billy's gonna do. He meets that Mike Tyson style. He literally implements Mike Tyson. He's gonna get in that pocket and just throw. And he was willing to
Right.
trade. He took the cleaner punches from Lester, but he landed at the better volume. He landed more. And in all honesty, I had it scored a draw too because I like to write down and score these fights as they're going on. And that fight ended in a draw, and I scored it a draw, 5 rounds to 5. That was a really good fight. A lot of action.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I was definitely unfamiliar with them, but yeah, that was a hell of a fight. Um, and just before we wrap it up, as far as the two big fighters, Crawford and Canelo, like, do you see, Canelo calling it, or what is like Crawford's next, opponent potential, if you had to say, on those two?
Well, I think for sure if anybody were to call it, it would be Crawford after this fight.
Oh,
Canelo,
really think Crawford?
he has to fight two. He's under contract. He has to fight two
Oh,
more
right,
times
right.
with
I always
Turkey.
forget that. I always forget that.
Crawford, he's not under no contract. Like, I think it's more likely he could just call it a career after that. Right
That's
off
true.
into the sunset, undisputed, undefeated, one of
Yeah.
the all-time greats.
Right.
I was even like talking to a lot of my coworkers at work. Like, I just don't know what fight would make sense for Crawford if it's not a Canelo rematch, which I don't think it will be. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Canelo would take that fight. I mean, honestly, I don't see how that can go any different. In all
Yeah.
honesty, I think it could look even worse.
Now,
And
this could just be arrogant fans online, but in now, and I could not know anything about boxing, which is also true, but I keep on seeing some people say, like, about him and Benavidez, and it's like, I mean, is Crawford like that? That seems so different as far as weight. Like, doesn't Benavidez usually fight? Obviously, he's fought, I think, in like the 168 range, but doesn't he normally fight like way higher than that, and then Crawford jumped up 2 or 3 weight classes to fight Canelo, like wouldn't that be a crazy reach?
I mean, on paper, it's only one weight class apart, but no, hell no. I don't think Crawford would take that fight. There's no
Because
way.
isn't
Even Bo,
Benavidez
I
also
mean,
like 6 foot
I
or
mean, no,
something?
yeah, I mean, Benavidez is literally. I mean, he would. I don't think that fight would end well for Crawford. He's just
Yeah,
way too big, too
I don't know.
young,
Yeah,
too. It's too everything, and I mean, they interviewed Bomac after Terrence Crawford's trainer after the fight. I seen like a little clip, and some people were asking him like, I guess Turkey talked about it on Twitter. He said like, can Benavidez make 168? Question mark. And they were talking to Bomac, and he immediately said like, oh hell, he's like, no, we're not taking that
yeah,
fight. Like that just fight. I mean, like name wise, like that, and honesty, that like makes would make the most sense for someone for Crawford to fight.
right.
But that fight, like stylistically, that's just a horrible fight for Crawford. I mean, he not even stylistically, just like like humanistically, like he's just way too big of a fighter for
Yeah,
Crawford. Someone like Crawford to fight who just moved to 168, around the same size as Canelo. Canelo didn't even fight. I mean, Canelo doesn't really duck anybody, and that's the one blemish on his career is ducking Benavidez, and I mean for good reason. I mean Benavidez is humongous. He's like 6'1". He's gonna come in that
yeah,
fight weighing like 200 pounds. Like
right,
it's just
right.
not gonna be. It's not gonna be a fair fight.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't get that. I was seeing that online. I'm like, I don't get that at all.
But yeah, as
But
far as what's next for them, for Crawford, I really don't know. Like if it's not retirement and he's gonna fight again, I genuinely don't know who he would fight. Like going off of this Canelo fight, like I don't know where you would go. He could move down to 160. I heard that was. He said he wasn't gonna move back down to 154. So like a Boots fight, Boots in this, that's off the table. That's been talked about for years. He doesn't want to move down to 154 again. He talked about possibly 160, and 160's got some good fighters, but none of them really are that big of a name.
mm-hmm.
Like and there's some dangerous fights there down there too. Like some fights where he's really putting his record on the line for, and it's like it wouldn't be that big of a payday. So I really
Right.
don't know who he could fight now. Maybe Charlo. I guess at 168, Charlo just moved up. That's a decent name, big name in America at least. But I really don't know who he could fight next. That's why I think a retirement is pretty likely. But and Canelo too, who he would fight, I also really don't know. I know he's talked
Yeah.
about wanting to fight in the UK a lot for the first time. He could
Mm-hmm.
fight like a Chris Eubank after that Conor Ben rematch is done, but I don't know who Canelo could also fight. That's another one.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, but yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end it. I think it was a pretty good pod. Had some good pregame talk, Bengals talk, panic meters, fantasy football, pick'ems, and off the field. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave a subscribe. Make sure to rate us 5 stars. Until next time, we're out. Peace.